What is up, everybody? Welcome back. We got another So Rare NBA playoff edition. Technically, this is live before lock, but it's truly only live for me, as you're going to see this after we put it up. We're going to do another recorded version of this because there's so much news, but it's spread out throughout the entirety of the week. So the live before lock chaotic nature of all the injury news coming in doesn't really help us out as much as it normally would do. So we are just going to get into it like this. And as always, if you are new to So Rare, you can grab the link that's in the show notes in that description there and sign up using that link. Not only does it get you 20 free common cards to get started, but if you buy 5 off of the auction, you get a 6-1 free, and we love to see free. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk a little bit about the playoffs, where we're at right now, how this game week's a little bit different than the rest, and then kind of look at some of these plays. So first and foremost, this is the first time they've done it, right, where we have a game week that lasts 6 days, right? So as you can see right here, it's going April 17th to the 23rd. It's going to lock tonight, baby. So instead of having like the game week go Monday through Thursday and then Friday through Sunday, we're just going this all the way through. So some teams are going to have 3 games. I think most have 3. Some will have 2. And it's going to be a little bit spread out. But the thing that we have to start with before we even talk about plays or anything like that is just the injury news that we were just smoked with yesterday, right? So in the Lakers-Grizzlies game, we saw Anthony Davis go down in a manner that we thought he would never use that arm again. Then he came back out and played, and he was fine. So Anthony Davis, still good to go. However, you will vomit a couple of times throughout the game week every time he just jumps weird. On the other side of things, though, John Morant went down with that scary, scary hand injury as the Lakers, I think it was AD, slid in to try to take a charge, landed on his hand like this, which just is not the way you want to land on your hands. So Ja said after the game, he said the pain was 10 out of 10. However, it's questionable for Wednesday. So the good news is if you're a Grizzlies fan, they don't play till Wednesday. They have a couple of days to kind of see where he's at. Maybe it heals. The x-rays came back negative. So you're taking a huge risk on Ja. If you think he's good to go, if you think he will play through the pain, then yeah, fire up your Jaws, right? However, if you think he's going to be severely limited or even miss a game, all of a sudden everybody around him in the Grizzlies, like their playoff rotation, gets a big old boost, right? We've seen this happen. I mean, luckily we can go back and look for the time, that Ja was holding up a gun like this and missed a bunch of time. We saw guys like Tyus Jones really move into the starting role and play well. We saw Desmond Bane take on more offensive load. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. has been an absolute monster. I'm sure we'll see a little bit more Roddy than we want to, a little bit more Luke Kennard. But I think if you are playing this game like Ja is out, I would hammer him Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Tyus Jones in that order. Of course, Tyus Jones, because of his cap, will get a little bit of a boost. Let's actually take a look at some of those plays right now as it looks at the marketplace, right? So let's look at the limited, and we'll sort by lowest price. But let's start with those 3 Grizzlies, because I do think this is going to be the key to the game week, is figuring out what happens with this situation. And then we'll talk about Milwaukee and Miami as well. So Tyus Jones here, has a low ask of $11 when it comes to limited. Let's actually look at rares too, because since I'm going to be focusing my attention on the rare contenders, I wanted to see. So he's up to 67 now. Let's look at Desmond Bain, and his cap is 28. So I was actually hoping that cap was going to be a little bit lower. He's still going to project pretty well with a cap of 28 if there's no John Morant. Or if John Morant is limited. Desmond Bain, however, yeah, he jumped up to $91. His cap is 38, so that's up there. It's probably, I don't know, maybe that could be your highest contender. And Jackson Jr., I imagine, is way up there at this point. He's got a low ask of 180, a cap of 43, because he has been straight up balling. So if the Grizz go down like this with no John Morant, they obviously those are the three guys that I would be targeting the most. On the Lakers side of thing, I mean, right, for most of this, we're going to get the same, like LeBron, a great play, AD, a great play. If, not, this is advice. I would say I'm not going to fall into the Rui Hachimura trap. I know he went ham in that first game. I don't think I'm going to count on Rui scoring 29 points a game. However, Austin Reeves, Dennis Schroeder, D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley's kind of fallen out of it a little bit, but those peripheral guys, I think, are fine dart throws. Let's go over to Milwaukee, where the other big, and Miami, honestly, for that matter, where the other big injury news comes. So Giannis left the game after a similar fall to Ja. Instead of landing on his hand, he landed on his back. Somehow, heroically got up and hit one of two free throws and then left the game and didn't come back. He is also questionable for Wednesday. Said it was a back contusion. That was a scary fall. I don't know, man. We've seen Giannis just be a superhero and come back. So if you play it like Giannis is going to play, nothing really changes, right? Middleton and Holiday are still fine plays. I wouldn't say they're like home run plays. Giannis is still a fine play. Bobby Portis, whatever. But if you project that Giannis sits, and I believe that game, is that game Wednesday as well? Sorry, I'm looking at this real time on the tele. But if we look at this, what is the date? Tomorrow. All right, so we don't have the Bucks until Wednesday too. So we have Bucks Wednesday and Grizzlies Wednesday. So we really are going to be doing some guesswork with this injury stuff. So if Giannis is out, who does that help? So we saw Middleton, Portis, and Holiday really take up the bulk of that energy, right? So let's look at Holiday. His cap's already pretty inflated, so he's not going to be a superstar play. That's the wrong Holiday. Nobody go get Justin Holiday. That is financial advice. Drew Holiday's got a low ask of 135, so he's up there compared to a lot of the rares, but he's got a cap of 38 as well. Middleton shot up to $97, cap of 33, right? Because his cap is so low, and with no Giannis, he's going to take up a ton of the offensive production. Bobby Portis, however, though, is really, really going to benefit if Giannis misses. And then you can see cap of 32, projection of 93. All right, on the Miami side of things, Tyler Hero broke his wrist. There's no guesswork with Tyler Hero, right? Giannis and Ja, we're still waiting for news. Hero is donezo. He's out indefinitely, so we're not going to see a lot of Tyler Hero. We saw Duncan Robinson be like the first one to come in, and we saw him hit a three, and people probably like, Duncan Robinson. I think he played 6 minutes, so I would chill with Dunk. What I do think we should be focusing on is right, Gabe Vincent. We saw him kind of just go God mode there in the fourth quarter. And he's got a cap of 19 with, cap of 19 with a low ask of 25 on the rares. Big jump, though, from 25 to 37. I think Gabe becomes a really solid play. We saw Max Strus's loose go ham in the play-in for like 30 or whatever it was. He's got a cap of 16 and a low ask of 43. I think he becomes a really solid play too. And again, if you're just listening to this in audio form, this is we're looking at the rare contenders here. But Strus, and then I guess we got to talk about Kyle Lowry as well, who's been seeing a minute uptick in the playoffs. We saw him go nuts again, too, in the play-in game. He's got a cap of 20 and a low ask of 21. I think all three of those guards get nice bumps there, right? The two other guys we need to talk about, because a lot of times when someone with high usage goes out, doesn't necessarily go to the next man in, but it just kind of condenses on the high volume guys. We saw Jimmy Butler do whatever he wants. Milwaukee's been getting destroyed by wings. Jimmy Buckets went for 35 and 11 in that game. And I mentioned this morning in the NBA Bit, which you should check out every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, where we talk all things hoops. But our friend Bam Adebayo, who I have called Scam Adebayo, he showed up in game one. And this matchup with Brook is like weirdly okay. The way that the Bucks are playing this drop coverage, they're giving him a little bit room in that, like in the paint, to drop those little floaters or make some make some decisions in there. And I feel like this might be, if Miami is to be successful, and even by successful, I mean just extend this series as long as possible. I do think Bam, especially if Giannis misses. If Giannis misses, I really do think Bam is going to be one of the better plays. Let's look up Adebayo, because people were pretty sour on Bam there down the stretch. I imagine he got a nice little uptick. Yeah, well, actually, not really. Cap of 32, low ask of 59. I love this Bam play. Obviously, if you have access to Jimmy Butler, go get him. But Bam no longer scam Adebayo in my books. All right, I think that covers most of the injury news. Nothing really changed with the Celtics series, with the Hawks. Nothing really with Nets and Sixers. On the west side of things, it looks like it might be a long series for Denver and Minnesota, which if you played those guys, well, actually, you got lucky with not lucky, but we benefited from the playing game where a lot of those Minnesota guys went off. I don't think we're going to see blowouts every single one of those games in that series. I think Minnesota will keep it a little bit more competitive, although the Rudy and Cat stuff is not a great matchup for Jokic and Gordon. You would think as two massive 7-footers, they'd be able to impose their will a little bit, but they're chasing Aaron Gordon around, and that's not ideal for them. So let's take a look at some lineup building here. And again, most of these teams, I'm going to take you through my lineup. I wish that I had some of the plays that we were talking about, like the Bams of the world. We actually might do a little shopping here before lock, which of course we are, because that's what I do. When looking at my rare contender, I think what I want to try to do, because you can tell I've got limited stuff, like Keegan Murray's cap of 28. I know he's coming off a pretty bad performance. I don't love that. I think what I am going to do here is try to jam in Maxey and Towns, because again, this is what I have. That leaves me with, I don't think we're going to be able to do it. Because then I was going to go Gabe, Strus, and that leaves me with 3. And then we could throw in Patty Baldwin Jr. and just punt that. The other option that we could do is if we took Maxey out of this lineup, that leaves us with, and Baldwin out of that lineup, that leaves us with an average of 21. We could do Keegan and Dean Wade Jr. Not Jr. I just like to say Dean Wade Jr. We could do something like this. So I'm not entirely sure which direction I'm going to land here. I'd prefer to find somebody else. The other thing that we can talk about is if Giannis misses, like Wesley Matthews played too many minutes. A part of that because that game got a little out of hand. But if I threw in Wesley Matthews, that leaves 4, and that gets me up to nobody. That getting right, nothing else I can really do. But that's probably a little bit better than Dean Wade, I guess. I don't know. So that's where I'm at with that. But I do think the key to this game week is figuring out, is just projecting correctly, right? Because I think the people that are rolling out Tyus Jones, like if you have Tyus Jones, you're just going to play him. You're just going to play him because if you're right, he becomes a great play. And if you're wrong, I mean, he's still their backup point guard. He's not going to get as many minutes, but he's still going to be out there. But I do think we see, especially if we don't get the news about Ja and Giannis before 5 o'clock tonight, which I don't think we're going to. I think just kind of, if you have them, again, this is like really high risk, high reward, because, with Sorare, we're doing the playoff leaderboard, right? That starts now. So, these scores are going to carry over for you in the cumulative contest. And if that is the case and you get a 0 from Ja or 0 from Giannis, it could be tough. However, knowing that they have a couple of games in this game week, even if you're wrong on one, you might be okay for the second one. And just real quick, too. So we'll look here. They've got a limited contender, limited champ, rare contender, rare champ, super rare contender, super rare champ, and a unique champ. And that's it. I wanted to see if they had like the playoff breakdown over here. They don't have that up there. I was going to look at that with you as well, but that's okay. And then just to recap too, my last game week, we did all right. We had Towns drop a 72, J-Dub with a 46, Gabe with a 35, Prince with a 32, Malik Beasley. Big old letdown from the Lakers, but that's okay. We will take it. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. For this game week. We'll be doing this every week. Every Monday, we'll have a recorded video come out. Best of luck out there. Make sure you're entering the Play with Friends over here with Team Hold. But again, if you watch this whole thing and haven't signed up for Sorare yet, I don't know what you're doing. You find other stuff to do with your life. But use the link and sign up and get excited with the Sorare streets. Make sure you check out all of our playoff content. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff around the NBA as the playoffs kick off, and we know no more regular season, and we love to see that. All right, best of luck this week in the first official playoff game week. Thanks for tuning in. We're out.